Well, I had a nice little speech written, but the joy of being the fourth one up here is I don't have to say this now, because Campy said it. And Josh said this, so that's good. And Nate took care of this one. So we'll be a little bit shorter and a little quicker. But first off, Nate, I won't look at you. Josh, you got any more water? Thanks, and I'll get into more details later, but I appreciate you putting the time and effort into that. I appreciate everything you said. Josh, congratulations. To think that we were drafted the same year, won a Super Bowl together, went to a Pro Bowl together, and now we get to have one of these together. It's pretty cool. To spend that time in the locker room with you was amazing. Not only what you did on the field, but the energy, the extra stuff you brought, kept the days fun, kept them enjoyable, and made it all memorable day in and day out. The Packer Hall of Fame, thanks for a beautiful evening. It is obviously truly an honor to be able to go into the Hall of Fame. My family and I came over early this morning and walked through it. We weren't able to do that while we were here, so we made the point to get it accomplished. And you guys do an incredible job of keeping the history of the greatest organization in the NFL up to date, so people can continue to learn and understand what it is to be a part of this organization. Like Josh said, the fans, I was talking earlier with the media, no offense to the fans here in Green Bay, but sometimes I think it's more enjoyable to be on the road because there's so many of them in the away stadiums, and we would just take it over. By the end of third quarter, the bottom bowl of all those stadiums, I don't know where you guys came from, but you came down fast. And you would fill the bottom bowl, take over with the chants, and it was always fun to see that when we were taking the knee to seal the game. My family, there's a lot of you here. I appreciate all the support. If it's at home, if it's coming to all our games, home or away, and most importantly, not to be a hassle. You guys, you guys took care of all your stuff, so I didn't have to. You did your own travel, sat wherever the tickets were, didn't ask for anything, and I appreciate that. All right. Hopefully that's done now. So similar to what Josh did, I'm going to kind of just recap the whole career and hit some big moments, talk about a few people that made our life here for 10 years incredible. So back in 2008, we were sitting in my mom's restaurant on draft day. Got a phone call from a 920 number. Similar to Josh, I don't remember talking to anyone. Maybe Jimmy, our receiver coach, a little bit at the combine, but I think Ted did a great job of, I don't even think he told the scouts what he liked and what he wanted to do, so there wasn't much getting out. So when I got a call from a 920 number, I didn't do my research going into the camp or the draft to know what every area code was, so I had no idea who it was. Everyone was turning around looking at me, getting all excited. I couldn't hear anything. I think even to this day, I don't even know who I talked to. I assume Ted and Mike, but it was a rush. And probably the greatest thing about it was when they announced it, it was during commercial, so all we had was a name across the bottom of the TV. So came in quiet and trying to go out quiet. But to look back on that is pretty awesome, and obviously very thankful for Ted for giving me this opportunity to apparently trade back because he knew I'd be there, and that's what he wanted. So very special, and yeah, obviously as a kid you always dream about it. You think about it, but I don't think you ever truly think it's going to come true. Thinking back on when we were moving up to Green Bay, and as those family members here know, I'm rather cheap. Some of the current players and former players know I'm rather cheap. So we did the fancy way, and my brother and I drove a U-Haul up to Green Bay with all of our stuff. So it was a great memory, a long drive, but one that we made multiple times back and forth to Kansas to go back home in the off season, and one we enjoyed every time we went. As you come into a new place, there's a lot of unknown. Luckily for us, coming from rural Kansas, Green Bay couldn't have been a better fit. It felt like home immediately, and someone that, on behalf of my wife, and I gotta thank Sherry. The things you do. Man, I need to stop naming names. For this organization, for our wives and girlfriends and our families, it does not go unnoticed. We appreciate all the training camp days at the pool, all the activities you had them doing, everything you set up down in Dallas for all of our families to allow them to enjoy that experience on ice with sand instead of salt. People in Texas don't know how to take care of an ice storm, but we truly appreciate everything you did. I don't even know where you're at, so I don't know why I'm looking around looking for you. But very thankful for everything for 10 years, and even more now when we come back. You're always wanting to grab lunch or breakfast, and yeah, thank you for all that. One of the big ones there was my son, who turned 1. On the way down, Thursday, our families were flying down to the Super Bowl, and Sherry helped my wife get it all situated to where they brought cupcakes on the plane. So he got to have a 1-year-old birthday on an airplane with a whole bunch of people, and then celebrate it. And truly celebrate it a couple days later with 100,000 people in Dallas Stadium and winning a championship. That Super Bowl week is one we'll obviously never forget. Like I said, it was his birthday on the way down. I think I wanted him to wear the same shirt he wore on the way down, but I don't think it fits anymore. But we were able to celebrate when he got there, have the cupcakes on the plane. It was a crazy week the whole way. Partially tore my hamstring in practice. Had to do rehab again. Had a neck issue about an hour before the game. Couldn't look to my left. Mike even came up to me during warm-ups like, do I only need to line you up on the right side or the left side? Like, how are we going to get this accomplished? Some reason they offered or told me I was going to return the opening kickoff after I just got benched 6 weeks ago for fumbling twice doing kickoff returns. So that was a little pressure. Was able to score, as we saw earlier, on a touchdown after previously screwing up that same route 8 weeks before that. And then things changed drastically. Donald unfortunately got injured and took my game time from probably about 20 plays to probably 60 or 70. And one of my funniest and favorite memories from that game was we go into halftime, and Jimmy, our receiver coach, was in a full-blown panic because he was flipping through the playbook as fast as he could, making sure I knew every play that I was possibly going to have to run. Let him know, he should have known we should have been catching balls off the jug machine so I didn't drop 4 of them in the game, but who's counting? So we had the plays figured out, went back out in the second half, had a good half. And being on the field in the confetti with my wife and my son, and then eventually going in that back interview area, and I feel like getting that iconic shot that every dad who's a player and wins a championship wants, when their son is sitting on their lap talking about a Super Bowl. But shortly after that, we're at the after party, and Nate somewhat mentioned this. My knee starts throbbing, and I have my wife. We're standing there having a good time, and I'm like, "You gotta go get Flea. I don't know what's going on, but my leg is killing me." So I ruined Flea's after party. We go up to the room, have him look at my knee, and the thing is swollen about the size of, I don't know, softball, volleyball, whatever. Can't move it. To the point, the next morning, I have to call him again and say, "Flea, I can't get out of bed. Can't move my leg." Like Mike talked about, Flea pushed me down to the breakfast area in a wheelchair, while Nate had my carry-on bag in front with my leg on top. So Nate was like walking backwards with my carry-on with my leg on it. Flea was pushing me with the wheelchair. And it was something that, like we have said before, those guys go to ends of the earth to make it work, and I appreciate that. To the guys in the locker room, all former teammates, coaches, everyone, obviously we wouldn't be standing up here tonight without you guys. The receivers, our receiver room was special. When I came in, I'd only played receiver for 3 years at K-State. I had a lot to learn, and fortunate enough for me, I had Donald Driver, Greg Jennings, James Jones, Ravel Martin, Jimmy was our coach, obviously had Aaron as a quarterback, and it gave me time to develop, to learn the game, and continue to perfect my craft. Our room was special then. It was special late in our career when we added Randall Cobb and Devontae Adams. These guys made coming into this building each and every day a blast. If it was the practices, the games we played in the locker room I think I learned 7 different games in the locker room between spades, backgammon, cribbage, sheep's head, euchre, everything. We also worked on football, but those are the moments we remember still to this day. We had receiver dinners. I think Jimmy started it with him and his wife Karen, having all of us over for dinner. Edgar Bennett never invited us over, but we ate more Roost Chris Steakhouse than I ever have in my life every time we went on the road. And Luke Getzey, who was our receiver coach when I finished my career here, did the same. There were special times. Like Nate said, we were able to introduce some people to some great food. I don't know how many of you guys have enjoyed chili and cinnamon rolls. Yes, together, and yes, dipping your cinnamon roll into chili. If you haven't done it, you should try it out. You can ask any receiver. They didn't believe it either, and they believe it now. Obviously, it's going to be weird to talk about Aaron since he's still working, but obviously he made our life very easy. One thing he did that I greatly appreciate is he challenged each and every one of us to me, get on his level. And I think some of us accepted that. And if you did, you would be successful. And I'm just very thankful that him and Josh really appreciated the passing for dough thing, because it helped us all out. I appreciate that. He did. He challenged us on the field, in the classroom, at practice. You know, if you weren't successful in practice, if you didn't know the answers in the classroom the way he wanted them answered, you weren't going to get the ball on Sundays. If you got one opportunity in a game, you better make the most of it, because if you did, it snowballed into another one. I think that, for my career, is what catapulted it off, was that playoff run in Atlanta, down in Chicago, and then obviously the Super Bowl, and it just continued to grow after that. In 2014, both for me professionally and for our family, was an incredible, crazy year. We were starting the adoption process to help grow our family, and we were doing that in the off season and through the summer, and then waiting to get matched. Throughout the season, as the year I won the year made it to the Pro Bowl, Randall and I became the first duo in NFL history to have over 1,200 receiving yards and double-digit touchdowns. One thing that I truly appreciate that, and it's one of 4 footballs that I keep up in my house, because anytime you can do anything in NFL history, I think it's pretty special. But with that season, some unique things happened towards the end. It was pretty funny the day that Coach McCarthy came in to our room and informed me that I had been selected to my first Pro Bowl. I get back to the locker room, we're headed over to a walkthrough. I call my wife to let her know. I don't even think you answered. I think I left a message and let her know. I go to the walkthrough. I come back an hour later, 30 minutes later, hour later. I have a message from her that we had been matched to adopt our second child in 7 days, by the way. So a quick change. So as we're ending up the season, we got 1 game left. We're going in to play Detroit, and I think I was like 63 yards away from breaking the single season receiving record. When I wake up from the hotel room to head home, it was a 3 o'clock game, so I went home for a little bit, got ready to come back. On my way home, I get a call from another number I don't know, and this one's from Texas, saying that kid that was supposed to be born in 7 days they're in the hospital now going in labor. So talk about a crazy day. She's at church again. We have this great communication where she doesn't have to answer the phone and I don't answer the phone. I call her. She comes out of church. She's got a missed call from me. She's got a missed call from the agency. She doesn't know what's going on. So we're sitting at the house at like 11 o'clock trying to figure out all these game plans. How are we getting to San Antonio, Texas, after playing a game in Green Bay at 3 o'clock? Is she going now? Am I coming down later? Are we waiting to go together? We're making phone calls left and right. I'm getting ready for a game. I come in. I'm talking to my marketing guy, trying to find if he had a good friend that had a plane that wanted to fly a direct flight from Green Bay to San Antonio that wasn't being used. So I like going out to the field to do my warm-up. I come back in. I think Nate's all in the middle of this too, sending text messages back and forth. Before the game, we finally have it all planned out that once the game's over, talking to Coach McCarthy as well, once the game's over, I'm gone. We're headed down to San Antonio to see our new boy. But with that, like I said, I was 63 yards away from breaking the record. And obviously wanted to accomplish that, get a win so we could get a bye into the playoffs. I was able to accomplish it, jump on the plane. On our way down, we still had no idea what we were going to name him. And we came up with Brooks. For those who remember, it was Robert Brooks who was the record that I broke. So it seemed fitting. Timing's everything. He's the one. Oh, there he was. He's peeking behind him. There he is. Obviously, timing's everything. I will forever be grateful for Coach McCarthy and the way he allowed us to handle that. He kind of mentioned it, but we got the bye week going into the playoffs, and he told me to stay down in Texas as long as I needed to. I missed a whole week, came back, and started preparing for the playoff run. So I'm forever grateful for Mike not only being our coach for 10 years, my whole career here, his offensive mind, but the guy that he was and how he allowed us to take care of our family situations anytime we needed. It was not about getting back to work. It was about doing whatever you needed to do to take care of your family. So when you did come back, you were here 100%. And then obviously with the good, there comes some bad. In 2015, it's when Nate and I started our second marriage. Had hip surgery in March. Came into training camp, was having a good training camp, blew out my knee at Pittsburgh. A reality check real quick. Coming off a Pro Bowl year, everything flying high, super excited about everything, and then you get hit by a train. The way Nate, Flea, Doc McKenzie handled that situation, I have the utmost respect for you guys. We set a new game plan, a new mission. I gave myself about 2 days to pout, feel sorry for myself, but then it was time to move on. I remember sitting in Nate's room or office with Flea and setting the goal to be the comeback player of the year. But within that goal was about being at every treatment, like he said, practice every practice, and then let everything else take care of themselves. Going down to Jacksonville, I think Doc put me on a rep count about 30 plays. I think we probably hit 60. I'm sure he was thrilled about that. We can probably go back before that. Nate and I were running in the indoor. Have Doc come over and say, hey, Jordy's jogging for the first time. He comes walking in, and we're doing full-speed sprints across the field. So as we were going through rehab, it was always Nate and I's goal to really upset Doc McKenzie and make sure we were about a month ahead of any schedule he had for us to be returning to play. But as we're going through rehab with Nate and Flea, you have the good days, you have the bad days. As we all know, it's family around here. And one of those bad days came through. Nate was doing range on my knee, which is pretty much laying down on my stomach, and he's taking my heel and trying to make sure it touches my butt while the front of my knee feels like it's about ready to split open. Flea sees I'm struggling. The next day, thanks to his wife, he shows up with some BT-BJ dip to cheer up the spirits. For those that know what that is, you'll understand it, but sometimes you need a little pick-me-up in all of it. So you guys are incredible. Not only what you do for all the guys in the training room, but in your office. You're like counselors. I'm sure you guys get more upset guys that come in there that want to complain about anything and everything, both about football, about life, about family probably. And you guys take it in stride. You handle it very professionally. You help us all get through everything, and this organization would not be the same without guys like you down there dealing with all of us. In 2017, can't leave the little girl out. Back to Coach McCarthy, like I said, incredible man. We're up for adoption again, wanting to grow our family some more. We adopted our little girl in March, but with adoption, you have to go back down 6 months later and do a finalization to make it official. Well, if you do the math, March, 6 months later, in the middle of football season. So once again, I go up and talk to Coach McCarthy, ask him if I can make a trip to Texas again. Yeah, please distract him, I appreciate it. If I got to go back down to Texas for a day, and again, he's like, we're actually getting ready to go down and play Dallas. He's like, just stay down there. You don't need to come back. You know everything you need to do. Just stay down there. But I don't know how many coaches would do that. I don't know how many coaches would, like I said earlier, allow you to put your family first and make sure, again, when I went back down to play in that game, that my mind and everything was at peace what was going on. I was with my family, and we were ready to roll. On our way up here to Green Bay this week, we were looking back on some great memories, some great times. My wife, every year of our anniversary, writes in a book kind of to go through all of what we accomplished, all the places we went, who we saw, what we did. So she looked back at year one. which we got married going into my final year at K-State. So I get married in June, have a great year at K-State, become an All-American, break a bunch of single-season records. Got to go to the Senior Bowl, Josh, sorry. Went to the Combine, got drafted, and came up to Green Bay. And again, we're very fancy people, so our 1-year anniversary, I don't even know if it's still open or not, we went down to Grazzi's on Oneida, a great Italian spot. And she wrote in the book, like, how could it ever get better than this? Being married, getting drafted, like, we had no expectations when we came to Green Bay. We were just gonna ride the ride, and obviously it turned out pretty good. And I think it got a little bit better over the 10 years we were here of growing our family and having a good career. And this is gonna be a struggle. But, like Josh said, we would not be up here today without our wives. When we moved to Green Bay, I told you not to make any friends or get involved because this might not last very long. But like usual, you didn't listen. And like usual, you were right. What you did for us and all the charitable organizations that you got us involved in, everything that you did for this community, that somehow I got a bunch of credit for when it was definitely you, means a lot. I also want to thank you for your support throughout my career, not only just cheering me on, but also yelling at the TV when I screwed up. It's one benefit of having kids when you ride home from an away game and you screw up. Dad, Mom was yelling at you at the TV because you did something wrong. Doesn't surprise me. Through all the surgeries, the weeks spent on crutches, waking you up at 2 a.m. to fill the ice machine so I could continue to ice my knee through the night in order to have the best, fastest recovery possible. We had a schedule and a routine every week. You allowed me to do whatever I needed to do in order to practice the next day and be ready to play the game on Sunday. Like I said, without you, I for sure would not be standing here tonight. So thank you, and I love you. With that being said, again, I appreciate everything, the Hall of Fame, the Packer organization, the fans, my family, teammates, and let's go have an after party, because I'm tired of crying.